Enzo continues to fit the big shoes left behind by Bob as defender of the city. Megabyte, now with Hexadecimal as his unwilling slave, can finish off those held up by the principal office. It's a daunting position for anyone, especially a young boy who is not quite ready. But hey, he proved he could win games without an adult with him. Maybe the Enzo-Andrea dynamic will lead to ultimate victory. Only time will tell.
Wait! Where are the recovery teams? We should have been picked up by now.
They have been delayed.
Megabyte!
There's no need for that, child. I only wish to talk to the boy.
Then talk!
I have a message for your sister.
I am a guardian! I'm not your messenger!
You are what you have always been, a mere delivery boy. Do not provoke me further. It is by my will alone you survive this encounter. Be well advised to remember that. Now listen carefully, boy.
Firewall was written by Dan DiDio, with story by Gavin Blair, Phil Mitchell, and Ian Pearson. The main cast includes Kathleen Barr as Dot, Christopher Gray as Enzo, Tony J as Megabyte, Shirley Milner as Hexadecimal, Andrea Limman as Andrea, Luis Valance as Mouse, Michael Donovan as Fawn, Scott McNeil as Hack, Gary Chalk as Slash and Cyrus, and Christopher Gaze as Hugh Branch. This episode wastes no time ramping up the heat and getting into the action. This is the first episode in this series with a cold open. That is, a narrative begins before the intro sequence. We see Enzo and Andrea, rebooted as snowmen, chasing after the user, who is Santa Claus. A ski chase ensues, and in a few really fun minutes, we see our two heroes toss Santa off a cliff, plummeting him to his doom. This immediately launches into a very special intro sequence, created just for this tale. This cold opening, the intro sequence, and indeed a decent amount of the whole narrative, are loving homages to the James Bond franchise. This intro being directly inspired by The Spy Who Loved Me. Just take a look at a section of it here. It's genius.
Fire, see it burning in his eyes. It's the flame that never dies, burning brighter than ever, like a fireball.
After the game ends, Megabyte plays his hand strong, allowing Enzo and Andrea to escape, but breaking Enzo's spirit in the process. We quickly shift to the principal office as we hear Andrea relaying the message that they may be safe in the principal office behind the shield, but Mainframe will suffer. We see Enzo hunched in a chair as she speaks, practically in a fetal position. Dot tries to lift his spirits by asking what they should do, but he responds by saying he's no guardian. Andrea reminds him that is exactly what Megabyte wanted, to break Enzo's spirit and remove hope from Mainframe. Everyone knows a country without the will to fight is much easier to conquer. Enzo points at the nearby vid screen, showing Megabyte's armada soaring high in the air, and declares they can't win against him. Just as the atmosphere grows grim, Mouse plays her hand.
Then Megabyte's won. He's beaten the defender of this system with words. I'm only glad Bob can't see this.
Bob wouldn't hide in here while Megabyte took over. A Guardian would find a way to stop him. A way to lock him up. Megabreath should be the prisoner, not us.
Well, I do declare, out of the mouths of babes.
Cage the tiger, and you may walk the forest freely.
A firewall, or rather an inverted firewall.
Exactly. It could work.
Fawn mentions it was Enzo's idea, which I think was just another way to boost his confidence. They get to work on this project, which we shall see throughout the tale, of course. Meanwhile, in the tour, we see Hexadecimal, now with that pain collar attached, strapped down and imprisoned into a force field. Megabyte shocks her to bring her to full consciousness, and she screams at them, swearing that she will free herself of the collar and tear them all apart. If you're wondering how they're able to keep her under wraps, remember she was almost blown to bits 2 episodes ago. Also, Megabyte and Aerodoctor will discuss this in the next tale. Anyways, just in case you need another reason to absolutely hate this guy, he's now imprisoned his mentally unstable sister, so he can use her as a weapon. Back at the principal office, Fawn takes Mouse and Dot to the bowels of the facility, and we find a testing center. The fun homage should be very apparent here.
Ah, there you are, Fong. This is Hugh Branch. He is one of our tech boys. He's been working on the Firewall problem.
It's really quite simple. Let me explain. We've come up with this. We call it a sender. It redirects energy from one source to another. So by placing senders around G' in these precise locations, we can...
Warning. Incoming game.
Enzo! He'll head for the game.
Mouse, Dot, please pay attention.
It's a really fun scene. The pacing thus far has been perfect. It really doesn't feel like we're 10 minutes in already. As shown in that scene, a game is on the way, and Enzo and Andrea head straight in. We soon find ourselves in a Toy Story-style environment. The game is literally a child's room, and our two protagonists are the size of dolls. Everything in the room is alive, from toy cars to sneakers. As Enzo braces himself for the game, still feeling kinda down, the duo discovers Cyrus and a few other binomes who begin to protest and belittle him. Poor guy, can't catch a break. As Cyrus riles up the crowd, they cow a little when Frisket joins the pair. But while they're bickering, the user zooms past. It's a Barbie doll in a hot pink race car. Classy. The binomes go scattering off to hide, but Andrea grabs Cyrus before he can skedaddle and blames him for all the bad press Enzo's receiving. Cyrus, backed into a corner, admits it, and the duo more or less conscript him to help. And they reboot.
What is it with you and motorbikes?
You look fantastic, Enzo.
That's Matrix. Guardian Matrix. You know, I feel better. Why haven't you rebooted?
I don't know how. I've never done it before.
Just double-click on your icon and say the magic word.
Oh, okay. Beetroot. Oh, sorry. Reboot.
Classy, visually impressive, and funny. That's this whole episode to a T. And it wouldn't be a James Bond parody without a thrilling car chase, so that's what follows. Along with some lawyer-friendly Bond-esque music. In the meantime, in a beautifully animated aerial scene, we see Mouse taking off from the principal office. Her mission? Deploy the machines that will project the firewall. Apparently her plane has a stealth mode, because she isn't worried about getting spotted in the heart of Megabyte's territory. Back in the game, the car chase comes to a bit of a halt as various objects around the room stymie Enzo and Cyrus's progress. To make matters worse, a model T-Rex appears and begins to harass them. Andrea manages to jump over the dinosaur, using its tail as a ramp, and continues chasing the user. Back in the principal office, Hugh admires his field test.
Get so few chances to test our inventions under real field conditions.
What do you mean, test?
Oh, didn't I mention it? This is all theory. If our calculations are right, this should work.
If? Should? If this does not work, the principal office shield will be disabled and the city defenseless.
Ah, see your point, Fong. Oh well, let's hope it works.
Oops. I admire his gusto, though. Back in the game, the T-Rex manages to mangle Cyrus's car. Enzo, mirroring similar heroics from Bob, moves to rescue him. The T-Rex moves to attack Enzo, but Frisket intervenes and chases it away. Unfortunately, Frisket chases it all around the room. And, up ahead, Andrea is stymied when a desk lamp drops on her. To make matters worse, the user has found a jet and is ready to make an escape through the nearby window. Enzo tells Cyrus he needs his help, and in a moment of about-face, Cyrus responds, "What do you want me to do, Guardian?" Outside the game, meanwhile, Megabyte and Air Doctor stand on the roof of the Tor, as Megabyte orders the attack force, including Hexadecimal, to begin advancing on the principal office. Uh-oh. Meanwhile, back in the game, Cyrus drives Enzo at full speed in a different car towards the user. Enzo manages to get on the wing and moves to take her out.
Oh no! Where's my gun? You're no help. Where are you?
With the flap jammed, the plane begins spinning out of control, and Enzo loses his grip and begins falling to the ground below. Cue Cyrus, who saves him with a helicopter. He brings Enzo safely to the floor of the room, and the user spins out of control and explodes into the wall. The game is over, and the Binomes celebrate Enzo's victory, while Enzo and Andrea sincerely thank Cyrus for his help and nobility. Cyrus likes the idea of being a hero, and embraces helping Enzo. Sadly, this moment of camaraderie is broken up by the arrival of Megabyte, with Hack, Slash, and imprisoned Hexadecimal, and some ABCs. Enzo is disgusted at what Megabyte has done to his own sister, to which Megabyte basically chuckles, and then tells him it ends here. But before any blows can be exchanged, Mouse flies by, dropping the last of the devices, and at Enzo's command, the firewall is activated. Megabyte is left flabbergasted as the sector is surrounded by sparks, which become more and more solid. Just as the area seals itself, Hack and Slash grab Cyrus and pull him in. But otherwise, all goes as planned.
Oh, isn't this rich? Aren't we a pair? Now it is the jailer who is jailed.
Their plan is successful, and Mainframe wins its first real victory against Megabyte in a long time. But there's still a lot to do. What twists and turns await in the next narrative? What can I say? These episodes just keep getting better and better. To Mend and Defend explored the darker themes, while still having a few laughs. Between a Raccoon and a Hard Place went for the light-hearted angle, while still very much advancing the plot in significant ways. And I feel like this tale hit the perfect center of the pendulum swing, being very fun without being silly, and being serious while not being too dark. There'll be plenty of both still to come. Firewall delivers a perfectly paced action narrative about taking responsibility and positive action, and also gives you a chance to grab some tissues before the next one. Hint, hint. It gets a 3 out of 3 from me.